Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to it, man. It's another episode of the Free Ride Podcast. And of course, it's your boy, Sipho Zach Masijo. I'm back at it again, man. This time around, I'm about to look at an issue that is all over the media at the moment. And of course, it is the VBS matter. And this matter has been ongoing for some time now. And of course, we've heard that the latest guy was arrested, and he has now given a statement, and he has implicated both Floyd and his brother Brian. But before I even carry on with this, there's a guy who wants to tell the story a lot more better. Ugwa Sipitori Diman Ugwa Sipitori. And of course, you can hear what he has to say. And he's trying to tell the story from his point of view. And then after that, I'm going to give you where the story has originated from. Let's go.
Bafowethu khopola le botsanga tsotsi holo lizifo le la mo Mzansi chifiwa mo go botsa ka mafia manga maholo dintja tsa corruption ya mo Mzansi ba no wirile mathata o skemme ba khalabi o skemme ba khekolo o skemme di taxpayers o skemme di investors o skemme South Africa jikelele a re ke le fem file ya dibra a wirile mathata o wirile macala dimane ne shapo dona le bank ngwe ba re ke VBS ba tsia dibra ba mya in charge so bankela by liquidity ka 2018 bla o bethile nyuko o skemme an amount close to 2 billion the investors na hana batho ba ntse ba bya ditšhelete mola ba irang bank eo ya ba bankrupt ditšhelete tsa batho gone ka bo greedy ba demand was greedy blind gore na sa shebe a se ba le ba utswa motho a utswa mara a sa jumpis o na tsiya o na bo o na tsiela o na sa need signature ya mang gore o tswe 5 million na sa need stampe sa o tlhakae gore antshe 1 billion bona na intsha nana gore na tepotso rena bo o untouchable bona ho rula nna ka mo holla saga setlhako le ba le demand wirile mara mtselashi dintlo tse 32 houses ko Joburg le ko Venda ala le dintlo tse 32 a kolo ya ke bolile 78 cars ebile ntse di nna sa di drive nana lo le ba ro nkana ke na le Brabus nkana ke na le Lamborghini nkana ke na le G-Wagon bo demand na senya guys na sa dlale problem ya rena batho ba bantsone re tlhakotla le too much the moment there re thomo bana le spotlighting ana re thomo utlwe monate re thomo tswa mo khabanyana re tshwara bondlolo ara senya a re sana hana I mean bafowethu 78 cars for ing o na ira mathata bano re go botse o na ira mathata o na no tsena go kolwing na boro ya le weekend fela ara ire ke tsene ka mo Brabus ka mo ke no bona gore ho iralang ka tšhelete tsa di investors motho be ile tšhelete magogo ara e ke bana ba ka kae ale ka chifiwa na no fitla fela anore koloi mosadi o nyakang ba re dimani na ya go tshisa nyama ka helicopter le brasta nana chopere mo moyeng go mo tshisa nyama ile ndabana ka tšhelete tsa di taxpayers batho ba ngoro motho o ira bjang thuyana a lokuluhile ka pelo ela ka ditšhelete tsa batho o ira nthwebjana na re go wantso gore justice ya mo Mzansi isle le ba lo go irala no monakong ya no ka Shimtela ba mo gwebile 495 years motho a collapse di tsukiri di asthma di BP di anamella gore ya a collapse ko khoto ba mo file 495 years in prison and please ba fuitsa re no utlwa ditaba tsa di medical parole what a dinya ke motho go ba ditse batho ba safarile batho ba lose investment za bona cause of demand the same way ka mkhona janchelete aba je na go drungu tango.
right, welcome back to it, man. You've heard for Autiarona Elengopitori talking about this man, Oelenkore Kele Kenza, Kele Mafia, le Mafia le hole, Edimano, o misuse chalete, Banahote watu Motokilo Hodu, Hubi Wakadaimane wa VBS, Daiman Ujile Chalete Yaba to Bafuet, you know, crazy. But anyway, let me get back to the story now. Remember, Floyd and Brian and Malema were brought in by the very same guy so that he can get help from them, because the EFF at the time used to raise a lot of issues regarding Jacob Zuma, his funding from the VBS. So let me take you back, right? So in 2016, Jacob Zuma took a hefty loan after the Constitutional Court ordered that he should pay back the money he regularly used, okay, for his security upgrades at his private home in Nkandla. The court found that the state funds were used to build the structures not related to security purposes, including a visitor center, an amphitheater, cattle kraal, chicken run, and swimming pool, right? The National Treasury must determine the reasonable costs of those measures implemented by the Department of Public Works at the President Nkandla homestead that do not relate to security. The National Treasury must determine a reasonable percentage of the costs of those measures which ought to be paid personally by Zuma. This was the judgment that the court had issued out. The judgment was delivered after the Public Protector's report during Thuli Madonsela's tenure flagged the irregular expenditure in the project, which was initially estimated to cost 145 million rand, but actually cost us as a taxpayers 246 million rand, 100 million rands more, according to Thuli Madonsela. More items were added to the project after the concerns were raised in 2009, bringing the cost from the initial 65 million rand, which was the subject of complaint in 2009, to 215 million, which has since been spent, while the outstanding work is now estimated at 36 million, bringing the envisaged total cost to 246 million rand. The information that was supplied revealed that 215 million and rising, the cost of security installations at the President's private residence far exceeds similar expenditure in respect of all this recent predecessors, right? The allegation that President Jacob Zuma's immediate family members also improperly benefited from the measures implemented as substantiated. President Jacob Zuma improperly benefited from the measures implemented in the name of security, which include non-security comforts such as the visitor center. I spoke about all those things, right? So now, what happens? Jacob Zuma then goes and applies for a loan. And let's quickly take a break, and then I want you to check this out.
Now to Cape Town. Parliament's Ethics Committee has found that EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu pocketed money from the VBS Bank. Parliament's acting Registrar of Members' Interests, Advocate Anthea Gordon, found that Shivambu failed to disclose 3 payments. Now, the committee obtained an affidavit by the liquidator in the VBS liquidation matter that identified the 3 payments made to Shivambu. In total, Shivambu failed to disclose that he received 180,000 rand from VBS, and Gordon is recommending the House reduce his salary by 9 days.
former Chief Financial Officer at the Greater Giyani Local Municipality, Risimati Maluleke, and the current Chief Financial Officer, Ndicheni Mashau, are facing various charges, including corruption, contravention of the Municipal Finance Management Act, and money laundering, among others. They were allegedly involved in the investment of more than 150 million rand in the now defunct VBS Mutual Bank. The third accused, Zibuya Chishonga, is a businessman who allegedly paid more than 62,000 rand to his accomplice Maluleke as a gratification. Chishonga's company allegedly received money from the municipality. 65-year-old Maluleke, who is now a pensioner, and his accomplice Chishonga have been out on 25,000 rand bail. The other accused, Mashau, who is the current Chief Financial Officer at the Giyani municipality, has been granted bail of 20,000 rand.
You want to be in this court number 9, 5th floor High Court building. That is Specialized Commercial Crimes Court number 2 on the 2nd of July, 8:30.
Several people in different parts of the country are facing charges for their alleged involvement in the VBS looting. However, Limpopo remains the epicenter of the bank heist. The accused will continue to be out on bail until their next court appearance in July. More suspects are expected to be arrested on the matter.
All right, so you saw the historical context as to Jacob Zuma, their whole VBS saga, and of course there are so many other municipalities and municipal managers who were involved. You saw in the video people who have been arrested already, and some of the members of the board who were part of this whole scandal, this whole grand scandal. And here it is that we were saying that we need to call for a state bank or a black bank or a bank that represents the interests of black people. And of course, if you think about VBS, initially, the VBS was, a bank that was put in place to help and advance the interests of black people, particularly bomme, lebontate mogolo, retirees, and so on. So a whole lot of old people in Limpopo who had put in their last investments, their last retirement and pension funds money, have lost it all. And of course, if you have heard, now back to the main story, okay? So this one here says, jailed former VBS Mutual Bank chairperson Chifiwa Matodzi claims in his testimony that the EFF was paid 5 million and 1 million rand per month. The donations to clean up the bank's bad reputation after giving former President Jacob Zuma a home for a loan for Nkandla. And Matodzi was sentenced to an effective 15 years in prison by the Pretoria High Court after he pleaded guilty to 33 counts, including corruption, theft, fraud, money laundering, and racketeering activities in contravention with the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. In his testimony, he said he met the EFF leader, Julius Malema, Floyd Shivambu, at the party's Senton penthouse during a heat of Nkandla saga, as the party had been criticizing the bank for giving Zuma the loan. Matodzi said he promised the party leaders VBS would pay the EFF initial 5 million rand and thereafter a 1 million rand monthly donation in an effort for a good PR. Now he goes on to say, to my knowledge, Zgameka is a company owned by Brian Shivambu, brother of Floyd Shivambu, who is the deputy president of the EFF. The company was provided to me by Floyd to make payments, and I promised the EFF. I made this promise after the news broke in the media that VBS has granted former President Jacob Zuma a loan for his Nkandla residence. Negative publicity arose in the country, he says in his testimony, right? The EFF started a campaign of mentioning the VBS in its political rallies through its president, Julius Malema. As chair of VBS, I decided Malema and the EFF should be approached for VBS to explain its position and how the loan was granted. Present there was Malema, Shivambu, and of course, the now General Secretary Marshal Dlamini, Although he did not participate, apparently he sat somewhere in the corner. And I think at the time he was not the Secretary General. I explained VBS Mutual Bank's position, and for that fact, the EFF's negative commentary about the VBS Zuma transaction was damaging the VBS Bank's reputation. I further informed them that the VBS will donate 5 million rand immediately and 1 million rand per month to the EFF, right? So yeah, he goes on and on and on. I'm sure you can read the statement, but here's what I want you to see, because Malema and Floyd and the EFF, they said it was a smear campaign, it was just bad journalism, that it was a target against the EFF. So take a listen to this, man. What do you think? What do you think?
VBS. Malema must speak about VBS. Give me a case number against me on VBS. That is an issue. This is an issue we'll never let go. Where is the case number? Even in the absence of the case number, because of political hatred and political agenda, we must still go after them. Shivambo must account for VBS. Because of VBS, Shivambo's brain, economic brain, has shrunk. He can no longer be a good economic analyst. He can't make a good minister of finance. He went VBS. There are people who are in the dock now. There is a white man, former CEO of VBS, who was arrested and who confessed, now serving time in jail. People are being prosecuted on daily basis, especially in Limpopo. There's former CFO, CEOs and all of that. Not a single law enforcement officer has ever even sent an SMS to ask us about VBS, including those fraud hawks. You know, the hawks, when they hear, hey, there is a case coming against you, then they start saying, no, I'm so and so from the hawks. There is this thing, we can close it, send this much. Not even a fake call was ever made to us about VBS. But VBS. Because you cannot find anything politically, ideologically, to falter the EFF. That's why Moeletsi Mbeki speaks about the leadership of the EFF, likes nice things. That's why they want houses with swimming pools and all of that. And then you don't ask him if Fidel Castro was a revolutionary. If he says yes, you say, didn't Fidel Castro have a swimming pool? Didn't Fidel Castro have a Rolex watch? The president, former president of Venezuela, Chavez, Hugo Chavez, a good dresser of note, a man of style. But if you compare Chavez with Malema, to Malema's haters, Chavez is a revolutionary, but there's nothing that I'm doing different from what Chavez did. Who said Chavez didn't have a pool? And Lenin. What is revolutionary about smoking cigar? Because Fidel Castro used to smoke cigar. But if you were to smoke cigar now, you're going to be taken a picture and be questioned, what is revolutionary about cigar? But Fidel has never been questioned. What is revolutionary about smoking cigar when you are a revolutionary?
VBS was deliberately used. The report was deliberately used as the greatest intelligence attack on the EFF. That's what the VBS was.
Were made the face of corruption. They wanted to make sure that scandal is the one that is going to take the EFF down.
In light of the upcoming 2019 elections, the intelligence personnel that belongs to South Africa's establishment needed a piece of scandal to discredit the movement. VBS was that.
I know of almost 20 people that are on trial for VBS. 90% of those are ANC people. Not even a single EFF person is standing trial for VBS.
What are the facts? Forget the hype. Here we have a so-called VBS scandal. What is the VBS scandal? It's a 2 billion swindling of funds by ANC-led municipalities, right? And people working at VBS.
There was so much skewed reporting, deliberate, with the same language, as if these people had a single script. Close to 70% of news reporting was on the 15 million rands of the 2 billion that the report was speaking about. Now, what is that? Is that journalistic integrity?
They would pursue EFF for 16 million, forget about the 2 billion, because most of the 2 billion ended up in white hands, by the way.
The real corruption in this country is executed by white capital. I mean, look at the banks, how they were able to subvert the rand, and there are no consequences for it. That is economic sabotage. That's economic terrorism. Look at Marcus Jooste. He's not the face of corruption, but he disappeared about 300 billion rand.
Medias like Daily Maverick, they'll have their own agenda. So we won't be surprised when the likes of Julius Malema are attacked by the racist whites.
It's in the best interest of the establishment to demonize him. And perhaps the idea, this constant portraying him as a dictator, an autocratic leader, their hope is that he may, at some point, give in precisely to that idea.
All right, man, welcome back. You heard for yourself, of course, the EFF denying the fact that they were involved directly with the looting of VBS, and Floyd denied it. And of course, I want you to have a look at this particular document right here. It basically just shows you, and I remember when this came out with the Daily Maverick, I've read it and followed it, and at the time I thought it was also maybe just an attack on the EFF, because of course it wasn't just the EFF who was benefiting from looting the VBS. And of course there were other municipalities that were led by ANC members, chairpersons of regions, and mayors of particular municipalities in Limpopo. And of course, there was 1 or 2 municipalities in Joburg that also put some money in the VBS scandal. And so if you have a look at this, it just shows you how the money flowed from VBS, and Brian got so much, Floyd got 180 million. And if you saw the video earlier on, Floyd could not account to in Parliament to the tune of 180,000 that was paid into his account, and they wanted to go and take Parliament to court. Can you believe this thing? They got paid, and after they got paid, they decided if they now that they have to prove themselves, or Floyd must prove where he got this money from, they decide whether they're going to take Parliament to court. So you can see for yourself how the money was flowing. And of course, you know that Floyd and Julius own a few establishments, and of course, the one of them is sued in. Apparently, it's sued. I don't know if it's true. They rebranded in Soweto in Vilagazi Street. So I don't know what you think, and I mean, you can comment about it, talk about it. This has been an issue ongoing for a long time, and some of us, when we spoke about it and spoke against it, people were saying we're just being political, we're just choosing sides, and of course, even Leno, I'm probably going to be told, no, but you are just attacking. I mean, this is what is in the media right now, and of course, if there are more people that are to be pulled out or to be called out, so be it, man. So be it. All right, man. So this is how I come to the end of the Free Ride podcast. It's been a wonderful, interesting show to look at this particular scandal. And of course, can we also maybe put a lot of energy to the Steinhoff saga as well? So, I know that the guy took his life, but can we follow it up and just go and see whether we can't raise as much alarms about the Steinhoff saga, even though the man at the helm at the time has taken his life. But we need to follow up on this matter so that it's not just the corruption that gets looked at from a black-owned bank only, but we can also look at institutions like Steinhoff. So yeah, we should also look at possibly the crime and the corruption that gets organized by the banks, the current banks at the moment. So yeah, this is how I come to the end of the show. Thank you very much for liking, for subscribing, and for all the comments. I really do appreciate it on all the social media platforms.